Alan, let's Alan, let's talk about the film September 5. Tell me the story.
Tell you the story. So, September 5th refers to the 5th of September. I forget the year. It's 1976 during the Munich Olympics. This is when the infamous kidnapping of the Israeli Olympic team and their ultimate murder. Where we've seen Munich, Steven Spielberg did it in Munich. What makes September 5th more interesting or unusual is that it takes a look at how ABC covered the events of the terrorist act during the Olympics, because the only news team available at the time in Munich was the Wide World of Sports team with Jim McKay and Howard Cosell. And so that was your news team. And I believe, who's the main guy from ABC News? Peter Jennings.
Peter Jennings, yeah.
Okay, so he was there as well. And so what this basically, it's a story about the hard pivot that the sports news team had to make to pivot to international news and a terrorist attack. Also at the same time, the Munich Olympics were the first live sporting event filmed live for the networks,
right
through satellite. So satellite technology is pretty much brand new at this point, meaning that there's one satellite above Germany, and all the networks had to share that satellite or had to schedule time during that satellite.
Mm-hmm.
That the news is breaking, ABC is covering it, and they have to pivot in terms. We're not covering the Olympics anymore. B, we have to turn we have to turn our sportscasting team into news anchors, and then there are a lot of decisions that have to be made of just what exactly do you show and what do you not show. Then there's also this intrigue of the German government not wanting anyone inside filming this, and then trying to sneak past them and get it all live. And then also the fact that when you're covering a terrorist attack and you have cameras on everything, the terrorists can watch everything the world is seeing about their actions. And so the other thing about this is that it all takes place within the broad studio at ABC News at that time. And so it's a very claustrophobic movie. Let's put it that way.
Correct you real quick. It was the 1972 Munich Olympics.
That's right.
And the terrorists, they even debate, like, are these guerrillas? No, they're terrorists. It was a new word that people didn't use. They had one glimpse. They show all the, I really like the aspect of the film I really like was Peter Sarsgaard as Rune Arledge was great. Yeah. I always loved Peter Sarsgaard. He was fantastic as Rune Arledge. Thought he was really good. And I like seeing all the behind the scenes, the technology, how like unsophisticated it was. They didn't have computer graphics. They literally had like a bug of the network was something they filmed on a black screen and then superimposed. Like, it showed how crude everything was. Like 60mm footage had to be ran over and then developed and then transferred. It was like they really fetishized over the process, and I like it because I remember I have shot 16mm film, so like that stuff was really fascinating. It is very claustrophobic, and so it's about this main event. On a personal note, September 5th was my birthday. I mean, also currently is my birthday. So kind of strange, but I this film is kind of mixed for me. I felt like the best parts of the movie or the best parts of the story are off screen, right? We don't see them because the whole movie takes place in the control room. Right. So you're seeing like there's stuff happening at the airport and you're hearing reports and you're hearing like it's this insane, 24-hour plus period of time where this event happens and it all happens in one place. and we see kind of what the public sees. What's fascinating, it is the most watched event in TV history. 900 million people tuned
Mhm.
in to this happening, this event that was unfolding live. They do a few things that were kind of like, oh, I kind of rolled my eyes, where there's like, they're hearing German on this radio, and this guy says to a woman, "Hey, can you get me coffee?" And
Yeah.
the guy says to the other man, like, you sent the one person who could translate that out of the room. And he realizes, oh, and then the same thing with the woman who creates the idea of the ABC bug. She like
Mhm.
invented a bug sitting in the corner. It's a woman that comes up with the idea, and they really focus on these two women. I was like, I kind of rolled my eyes, like it's kind of a little. Those were the only two that stood
Yeah.
out. They don't ruin the movie, but um, I guess the one thing I'll say, it's 91 minutes, very short. It's
Yeah.
very thrilling once it gets to gunshots. Boom, they hear it. It's like an action thriller, but it's told in this confined space. So overall, I recommend this movie, probably a 7 out of 10 for me. But I almost, it's one of those films I see where I think, God, this might have been better as a documentary. You know,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah. I than you in the sense of I thought the idea was fascinating.
Mhm.
Just the pivot that it had. I mean, I'm very I was very young when it happened. But I know these people. I know the players involved here from my childhood.
Same.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool things that happen. One is Jim McKay is in the movie as Jim McKay, and so the footage that they have of
Yeah,
him.
they actually use the footage. I don't think they ever
Yeah.
showed Peter Jennings, but you hear his voice.
No, yeah, no. There was a guy playing Peter Jennings,
Yeah.
uh, but
Oh, that's
uh, but I think when they played the real, because they're introducing when they can use the real footage of the event, they do it, which is again very fascinating because now you're seeing when you say most exciting things that happen or done off screen, yeah, that was done in Munich. They've already filmed that part.
right, right,
Spielberg.
right.
So you don't need. It's just, you know, it's a very tragic moment in human history, and from this standpoint, to me, is the reason why to see it because it's done so well, and you forget that you forget that once a hallowed profession um,
Mhm.
was once a respected profession, and this reminds you of why it was, and because there are discussions about journalism and journalistic integrity that happen that you wish people would have today. There's another movie that
Yeah,
does that as well.
yeah. That was really fascinating how they would like sit there and
Mhm,
have discussions about what word to call the people
mhm.
that took the hostages. It wasn't terrorism, and terrorist was not a common word.
Yeah.
So they have a discussion about the word. They have a discussion about, can we do this? What image do we open with? They show them telling the story to the American public, saying, open with this shot, do this quote, cut to this interview. Who is this guy? And so I did like that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, there was also, because they had cameras on the German police on the
yeah,
roof, and you realize by doing that you're telling the terrorists exactly where the police are.
right.
And weirdly enough, they probably saved lives doing that. And,
Yeah, they're like, do the terror are they watching the TV, seeing what we're doing? Like they had to make these calls. And Rune Arledge, Peter Sarsgaard is Rune Arledge. He was pivotal. He
mhm,
was the cornerstone of the film, and it was really amazing to see the thought process. So
yeah,
I mean, you liked it a little better than I did.
yeah,
I thankfully this movie is not 2 hours and 40 minutes.
yeah,
It's a tight 90, plays like a thriller, and it's just, I'd say it's very good. It
mhm,
didn't blow my mind. You know, like a similar film. There's a movie that's similar that is not a thriller, which is Saturday Night,
mhm,
about the inside of the very first episode of Saturday Night SNL, right? And that was really also similar thing where you got a glimpse on the inside. How does it work? How they do a live comedy show? How are they, deciding what bits to use and what not? And so it's they're not similar movies. They're just sister films in a
Mhm.
sense, because they're like a behind the scenes look at television.
Yeah.
Television. But I think when the media is looking at itself, they always make themselves look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they always make themselves look good.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
my
nowadays,
one thing I'm a little skittish on.
yeah. I mean, because when they were showing the police on the video, they were trying to justify why they were right in doing it.
Right.
And the Germans were not having any of it. Yeah, I this is one of those movies where it's small in scale, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, it
Um,
is like I gotta say, like everything from like they've got one guy that they can't go to certain places. So
Mhm.
they take one of their crew guys and they make a fake ID. What
Yeah,
I love about it is they make a fake ID so one of their guys inside can pretend to be an athlete, and they show them making the ID, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember as a kid having a fake ID and like actually making it, and he made it, and they dressed him up and they put film and taped it to him so he could get things,
yeah.
back and forth. He
And he
would
carries
bring
a giant bag of camera equipment
yeah, and
and
they
never
don't
gets
check
stopped.
it. So I did like that inside view. So it's well worth it. Well worth seeing. I'm recommending it.
Mhm.
Definitely recommend, but not a stellar review. So,
Yeah,
but the fact that it's 91 minutes, I
yeah,
mean, boom, you're in, you're out. There's not a dull moment.
yeah. When I saw it, it was amazing to me how fast this movie runs.
Very fast paced. And
Yeah,
um, yeah, so recommend from both
yeah,
of us.
yep.